Let's find out from INEC then what they're doing and how they will respond to what you've just said. Well, Mr. Nyedi Koiwak joins us. He's the resident electoral commissioner in Rivers State. Morning, thank you for joining us. Could you tell us then?
Yeah, good morning.
I'm sure you must have heard our guest talking about what they require of INEC. What's the preparations that you put in place at the moment?
Well, I think we have, like I said yesterday, yesterday was the day we received our sensitive materials that we have dispatched quite a large number to the local government. The ones that were left yesterday, that did not move because of the terrain or the river are moving this morning. So before 10 o'clock, the headquarters will be empty. All concentration will now be at the local government areas. And by this evening, they have to move to the racks for final preparation for the polling units tomorrow morning.
Let's talk more about the terrain, which you just mentioned. A while ago, we spoke with our colleague there, Charles Iruka. Presently, is raining in Port Harcourt, and we also understand that some of the local government area in Rivers State are really difficult to access. What is INEC doing so far to making sure that materials arrive pretty early, and as soon as voting ends, such materials are also being sent quickly and to the collation center?
Well, that is the reason why the commission decided to create racks, because we know that some of the terrain, naturally you cannot overcome them, you cannot shorten a distance, you cannot lower hills or make a river dry grounds and so on. So because you realize this, we now decide that materials will be domiciled in the community where election takes place. And we take community halls, schools and so on for our personnel to be there. That is why I said by this evening, all the materials from the local government will move to the racks in the community, so that by tomorrow morning, every polling unit will be occupied by it. Racks are stationed in places where the polling units are, and it's not more than some is a trekking distance. Some you take maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Some you take more than about 20 minutes and so on. There is no racks that is stationed in a place that will take more than an hour to get to the polling units. That is the essence of establishing this one.
All right, Mr. Ndidi, our guest here, Mr. Dekilo, just thinks that the ad hoc staff, some of them are pliable, and he says a weak link in ensuring transparency in that area. Are you concerned about this kind of impression?
Well, I think we keep appealing to Nigerians, because when we talk about this staff, they are all Nigerians. And I don't think there is any provision for us to recruit from either outside the country or recruit from the moon or heaven. We recruit among Nigerians, and the commission has looked at which area can you have people that you believe to be people who can have the level of integrity to do this job. You look at the NYC, these are young graduates who are coming out of the university. The future of the country is in their hands. So you can quickly appeal to their conscience. You can really appeal to the sentiment of the youth to do the right thing. These are all what we are doing. And I think that the focus now should be to now develop interest of patriotism, making people to now work for the country, not necessarily always looking at people as being very bad. So our attitude is that we try to make these people believe that you are working for the country, and so on and so forth.
All right.
And the people available, and we have to make do with the people available.
One more thing before you go. I mean, we did see that in Bayelsa State, at some point, INEC had to introduce something different, because the procedure ordinarily is once you get accredited, you wait, or maybe you go home, if you will, come back after a while, and then begin to vote. Is it going to be the same thing, or when you get accredited, you start voting immediately?
No, we have said that it's a breach. It's no more issue of one election you bring. It's now a policy in INEC that election now is simultaneous accreditation and voting. That is why there is now a authorized to come to the polling unit anytime between the hours of 8 and 1:59 minutes. That's 1:59. From 2 o'clock, you don't have any business to come to the polling unit. But if you were there before 2 o'clock, there is still provision for allow you to be accredited and you vote. We are introducing this to reduce the tension of always coming to gather and wait, and sometimes people will finish accreditation and sometimes go home and don't return to vote. This time, the people have the liberty to now walk in, get your accreditation and vote, and you want to go back home to do your personal things, you can then go back home and do your personal things. And if you still want to wait around so that you can get the results of the election at the end of the election, you can still wait around.
But not 300 meters.
The time of the law.
I'm just wondering, though, there have also been some confusion now over when the incidence forms are to be used. Could you kindly tell us again when the incidence forms will be used, assuming the card readers do not function as they should?
Please come again, it's breaking, please.
I was asking about the incidence forms. When exactly do you think they will be used, assuming the card readers don't work as they should?
Sorry. Okay. The incident form, I think, is one form that people misunderstood. Incident forms are supposed to be internal forms for you to audit the number of authenticated voters and number of non-authenticated voters, because it is clear that we work in different places and these card readers are brought in environment that may not be conducive for the card reader, and there is bound that some fingerprints because may not be sensitive to the card reader. But before it comes to issue of fingerprints, your identity, your ownership of the permanent voters card, you are belonging to that local government has already been established. So you are already claimed to be a voter. The fingerprint is a secondary to just authenticate. And if it's not authenticated, you bring incident from the word is incident. What incident did you get? Oh, his fingerprint was not authenticated. So that when you are auditing the number of accredited voters, you will add those authenticated and non-authenticated to now give you the total number of accredited voters. It's not supposed to replace the card reader. It's just that we are in a country where people don't even ask questions on what is these things about. Immediately things are introduced, somebody is looking for opportunity to circumvent. So a lot of Nigerians, surprisingly, the very learned ones, believe that incident form was a form produced to replace the card reader.
So just wondering, though, what happens in the event? Do you anticipate a situation where the card reader doesn't work at all? And if you do, what happens in that event?
Well,